No doubt. Larry, let's talk about a few things that we like and a couple things that we didn't like coming out of that game as we get into the final stretch here, the last 3 games of the year. Since we've been working in nothing but positive watercolor since we hopped on the air at 8 a.m., let's talk about what we didn't like. And I think you and I are going to go right to the same place. Punt return, kick return is way too much of an adventure week in, week out. And Ronnie Bell has nearly given the ball away to the point where I think that they have to take that job away from him. And either Ray McLeod, who fumbled again before he got hurt, he needs to reassume the role, or they just got it to give it to Debo, or just fair catch these damn things and don't worry about it. Punt return remains a massive headache, and I don't know why, but it's the one blind spot of this team for several seasons now. It really is. And just not fumbling the punt return away would be a great place for the Niners to operate the rest of this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting the Kyle Williams flashback feelings when I'm watching Ronnie Bell. And I like Ronnie Bell, but he's making me nervous.
Yep. He had a dropped pass on 3rd and 7 in the third quarter. He was tiptoeing the sideline. It was like, I can forgive that. That's football. But this near fumbling things, and man, Charles Davis totally got that wrong on the broadcast yesterday. Like, Bell is clearly down because his forearm is down, and Charles Davis is like, well, just because his forearm is down doesn't mean any part of him and any other part is down, and that's a fumble. No, Charles, is it your first day in the booth? What are you talking about? That is textbook he down. And you can see it on the replay, but still too close for comfort.
Yeah. And this isn't the first time he fumbled the ball out of bounds. Was it 2 games ago or last game?
Had a really nice bounce.
He also had a diving play where he didn't look like he's kind of built kind of slight, and it worries me about just him taking a big hit and coughing it up when it counts. Okay. So next week against the Ravens, the playoffs, I think I'd like to see Debo on the kickoff return, and I'd like to see Ayuk on the punt return. And I know people would say, well, I don't know, that's awfully risky. It's risky not having them there.
Right.
And you're talking about one of the nation's best college kick returners. You're talking about one of the nation's best college punt returners. These guys, it's not like these guys are like, well, let's throw them back there and let's see if they know how to do it. No, Ayuk's really good at it, and Debo's really good at it. And when they get into, gotta have it Super Bowl Sunday kind of a game, or NFC Championship game, or even next week against the Ravens, I kind of prefer to see Ayuk and Debo get, one more touch there. They're both the kinds of body types that you can't just hit them hard and they cough it up. So that's really, to me, what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for somebody who can just get smoked, but still won't cough up the ball. And Ronnie Bell doesn't fit that description. He was reminding me a lot of Kyle Williams.
Yeah. I mean, bigger than Kyle Williams, but fumbling like Kyle Williams. That's where the reminder comes from. The only other really disturbing aspect of Sunday's game in Arizona was they allowed the Cardinals 234 rushing yards, over 7 yards a pop on the ground. But that's all the Cardinals really had to offer. Beyond throwing to Trey McBride, they were running the ball. Connor is a monster. And they've got a very good offensive line run blocking. Running the football is what they do. They're a top 10 team in this league running the football. And it was an afternoon where the Niners defense was begging you to run the football. Like you said, Calais Davis gets hurt in game, and neither Eric Armstead nor Javon Hargrave even played in the game. So the middle was to be had, and you saw a lot of hey diddle diddle. The Cardinals are running right up the middle. And the other thing, and again, this is like ripping Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. Even though he led the game in tackles, Fred Warner did not have a good game yesterday. Not by the Fred Warner standards that we've become used to. Fred had at least 2 or 3 tackles missed. The Amari DeMarcado 49-yard touchdown, that came right out of a Warner missed tackle. The biggest chunk play of the day for Arizona. So again, just be because we like to keep it real here on Niners Wake Up. We're going to tell you when someone has a good day, when someone has a less than good day. It was a less than good day for Fred Warner on an afternoon where he needed to clean up everything because there was so little stout defense being played right in front of him, where normally it's really hard to run on the Niners. It became easier yesterday. And Javon Kinlaw still appointed himself pretty well, all things considered, but he can't do it all alone.
Well, first of all, it's like Fred Warner. What kind of year are you having? You had 9 tackles, 8 solo, and a half sack, and yet I think you're right. I think it was kind of a down
minus
effort. Yeah, it was not. You could have had 12 tackles and 11 solo and 2.5 sacks, Fred. But no, I mean, sometimes you got to credit the opponent. I mean, Dermercado is one of the strongest running backs in the entire league as far as just breaking tackles. This guy was a horse at TCU. He's a horse now. He's 5'8", 220 pounds. You know what I mean? So he's just a monster, and he runs hard. And that 49-yard touchdown run, they should have brought him down like 7 different times. I think Gregory had a shot. Warner had a shot. They should have brought him down. They just didn't wrap against Dermercado. And then Connor is a monster as well. He's 230. Then Michael Carter is a really hard runner. He had 3 carries, 9 yards a pop. Murray ran for almost over 8 yards a carry on 49 yards on 6 carries. His long was 15. So I mean, this is a really, those are 4. Even though the Cardinals are not a good team, even though the Cardinals are 3-11, James Conner, Amari Dermercado, Kyler Murray, Michael Carter. There may not be 4 more difficult guys out there in anybody's run game to tackle than those guys. I mean, Dermercado is a horse, and he really runs hard.
Since we're tipping our cap to the opponent, Trey McBride is a hell of a player. He's a hell of a player, and he had one of the single best games that anyone in the NFL has had against the 49ers all year long. Trey McBride did whatever he wanted to do all afternoon long. He got open. He made great catches, some of them in the catch radius, others he's really extending himself. Just outstanding.
Oh, he's a great player. He was great at Colorado State. I mean, anybody who watches college football, I mean, Trey McBride he was a superstar college football player. And for whatever reason, it's taken him a little while to kind of adjust to the NFL. He's going to be one of the NFL's best tight ends for the next 5 years. And the Stanford receiver, who they use as a tight end as well, Elijah Higgins, is a mismatch. I mean, he's just really, really fast. He had 4 catches, 44 yards, and a touchdown on 4 targets. I wanted the Niners to grab him in the draft. I thought Higgins was going to be a sleeper day 3 pick. He was a jumbo receiver for David Shaw. And here he's like that movement flexed out, second tight end. And those two, their 2 tight end set with Higgins and McBride, those guys are real. I mean, their receivers were banged up in this game. Michael Wilson was banged up. They had a couple different receivers that were Hollywood Brown didn't play, right? Yeah. So, I mean, their receivers were banged up, but if you give Arizona a full complement of guys, they've got good weapons. They really do.